If you feel stuck with a small kitchen and you're thinking, this would have been so much easier if we could extend, I want you to pause. Because small kitchens don't always fail because of their size, they actually fail because of their layout and the design decisions that have made them really cramped. And when the layout's wrong, no fancy design choices will ever rescue it. I'll show you one of the most common layout mistakes in just a minute. So in today's super quick video, I'm going to show you how to make your small kitchen feel calm, functional and considered without blowing your budget and needing to shell out on an extension. First, we'll talk about the two big layout decisions that you'll be up against that most people get wrong. Then I'll show you some common small kitchen traps that I often have to correct for clients. And then I'll finish with 5 affordable ideas that you can bring into your small kitchen planning. Some of these ideas will actually save you some serious money and protect you from regret. Let's get into it. Now, before we talk about ideas, there are 2 upstream decisions that you need to make now, which could make or break your kitchen later on. Decision 1 is, can you actually afford a little bit more space? Before you accept that your kitchen is small, you need to check your ground floor plan properly for any opportunities to gain more storage space or worktop space, because sometimes there are some quick wins that people can often miss. For example, knocking through unused storage rooms, blocking up or moving a doorway to actually give you more counter space, or opening up into a dining area, or borrowing some circulation space to position cabinets. It's not always possible, but when it is, it can actually really transform how you use your kitchen. So don't design your cabinet layout until you've confirmed the exact footprint of the space. Decision 2 is, how many runs of units can you comfortably fit? And this is where people can often run into issues before their kitchen planning actually gets underway. Because with small kitchens, you're usually considering between 1 wall, 2 wall, 3 walls as a U shape, or 2 walls plus a peninsula. And I see the same layout mistakes happening over and over again, which makes small kitchens feel really crowded and hard to use, so make sure you avoid these. The first is squeezing in an island for extra storage. Even a 4 metre by 5 metre room will not fit an island comfortably, and it's rarely worth the compromise in circulation. And this is where you can get really caught out. It's very easy to design a kitchen based on Pinterest inspiration, rather than how you'll actually feel and move through it every single day. Then there's forcing a U-shaped kitchen to a space that just can't fit so many runs of units. The circulation space will be way too tight, which might be okay for 1 person to manage in, but for 2 people it becomes really cramped and slightly unsafe. Actually, my first small kitchen idea, which I'll share in a moment, will help you guys if you're up against this. There's also the mistake of fitting a standard height wall unit when ceilings will actually allow for much taller cabinets. Vertical space is basically free storage in a small kitchen, so let's utilise it. Then there's positioning your cooker too close to an exit. In the UK, this can cause building control headaches and a requirement for extra fire protection, which is not a small bill for things like sprinkler systems. So check your building code if you're worried that your cooker might be too close to the door, and always plan for safety first. And then there's the classic one, not proportioning your kitchen and living space equally if you're working with an open plan layout. People cram everything into the kitchen, like an island, a big cooker, appliance cupboards, and it takes up so much space that the living area then becomes an afterthought with just a lonely sofa that no one ever sits on. With a small open plan space, you don't want the kitchen to dominate the whole area. It's going to leave you with a lot of wasted and unused living space. Just remember that restraint is what makes small kitchens feel expensive. Also, I need to give some love to one-wall kitchens because they seem to get a really bad reputation, but I actively recommend them in scenarios where your kitchen's under 2.4 metres wide, or if it's going to be sat in a really small open plan space, one-wall kitchen is the best fit. What you gain with them is usually better circulation, a really calm feel, and more usable living circulation. But yeah, overall, it's that circulation space that needs to stay comfortable in your small kitchen. Don't be tempted to squeeze too much in, because the moment walking space feels too tight, you've pushed it too far. And if you're really up against a tight space, I have a quick trick for you in a second. But guys, if you're getting overwhelmed by just how much there is to consider with your kitchen, check out my kitchen layout cheat sheet, which will help you firm up your kitchen decisions and put some method into the madness. I've left a link for you below. Idea number 1 for your small kitchen is to use reduced depth cupboards strategically. This is one of my favourite practical tweaks. So standard base units are 600mm deep, but in small kitchens, sometimes you might have a pinch point, or you're not sure if you can fit 600mm deep cupboards all around. That's where shallower 450mm deep units can actually make a big difference for you. They can improve flow, protect your circulation space, maintain balance if the room can't fit two full-size runs on either side, and they give you loads more usable storage. And sorry to repeat this again, but it needs to be underlined on the chalkboard. Always prioritise the circulation space over your cabinets. Because if the kitchen feels too tight to move around in, it won't matter how much storage you've squeezed in, you'll be feeling so stressed every time you cook or clean in it. Idea number 2 for your small kitchen is to keep plumbing where it is if you can. This can save you hundreds of pounds alone, sometimes thousands of pounds, because moving a sink doesn't just mean moving pipes. It can also mean lifting floors, boxing pipework, adjusting the wasteful, extra labour costs, and labour really is where budgets can spiral. So unless the sink is truly in an unworkable spot for you, keeping it on an existing service wall is often the most sensible move for cost reduction, and invest that extra budget into finishes instead. And a quick extra tip for you, when I'm floor planning small kitchens, I try to look for if the kitchen backs onto a bathroom or utility room, sometimes you can share that same wall where the pipes run. It's called a service wall, and all of your pipes can run down the same wall. And this is why I get all of my students floor planning in a holistic way, so they're planning the full ground floor, not just the kitchen, so everything flows onto the next, and the pipework and electrics are all routed around the property efficiently. Room by room thinking can actually cost you so much more in missed opportunities and redoing work. Guys, if you're struggling with your renovation, we have 2 ways that we can help you. First, if you're at the start of your renovation and you're worried about your costs spiralling, you want to understand ways that you can bring your renovation costs right down, hire the right trades, and do the work in the correct order, avoiding any mistakes, then join our online course and renovation community. In 6 easy step-by-step modules, you'll design and create your dream home confidently and affordably. On top of that, you'll be amongst a supportive community of smart renovators who have already tackled many of the issues that you may face. By the end of the course, you'll have created a vision for your dream home and learned the methods to save thousands on your project. Otherwise, if you found us in the middle of your renovation and you're feeling overwhelmed with design decisions like which colours, lighting, worktops, kitchen suppliers, tiles, everything, and you really want to create a cohesive look with the support of an interior designer that's affordable for you to create, then take a look at my Done For You interior design packs. I've pre-chosen designs that will take all of the stress and decisions off your plate, with full designs and shopping lists ready for you, but at a fraction of the cost it would be to hire an interior designer one-on-one. And no waiting around for the designs either, you'll get them instantly. So if you're keen to have my support selecting a timeless design for your home, get your hands on a design pack today or access our online courses. Links are all in the description box below. Now back to the video. Idea number 3 for your small kitchen is to choose one fake luxury surface and apply it really tastefully. Small kitchens can absolutely look high-end, but what makes them look chaotic is too many competing finishes. So instead, pick one surface to do the heavy lifting for you. That could be something like a statement worktop carried vertically as a splashback, or statement splashback tiles with a plain coloured cabinet, or cabinets and wall paint in the same tone so that the space visually recedes and feels far bigger. One convincing material that's repeated really well around your kitchen reads as more premium than budget finishes mixed together. And if it's open plan, try keeping your colours in a similar weight across all the zones so there's a feeling of continuity. Cohesion will make your small space feel just as good as any massive extension. Idea number 4 for your small kitchen is to integrate appliances to reclaim storage space. So freestanding appliances like washing machines and dishwashers carry bulk that you actually don't benefit from. You know, all the plastic framing around the machine. And integrated units trim all that bulk right down. Also, quick suggestion on double ovens. Don't get me wrong, they're brilliant in larger kitchens, but in small spaces, they're often the fastest regret that people have because they rarely get used. Design around how you actually live, not the version of you that needs 2 ovens at Christmas for 8 people. In small spaces, you need everything to be used daily, if not weekly, so it really earns its space. I know integrated appliances aren't perfect, they cost more, access can be trickier, but in tight spaces, that trade-off is often worth it. But yeah, it's all about weighing up your layout and your needs and making those judgment calls that suit you long term. Idea number 5 is to light your small kitchen properly. Small kitchens need their own lighting solutions to reduce harsh shadows. Harsh shadows are your nemesis, guys. They make small kitchens feel so dark and small. So here's my tips. Don't rely on ceiling lights alone. Layer the lighting so you can illuminate different areas that you work in and create different atmosphere during dark days and evenings. Even just ceiling lights plus under cabinet lights makes such a big difference. In fact, under cabinet lighting should be a non-negotiable in every kitchen. I usually recommend continuous LED strips for a softer glow and avoid dotted tape lights that create visible spots. And make sure that all of your lighting is warm white so it feels more homely and expensive. Also make sure that you're lighting evenly around the room. Don't leave one section underlit or in shadow just to save money on lighting. Uneven lighting is what makes spaces feel quite awkward and off, and you can't really pinpoint why. You should also be a bit more sparing with pendants, so one well-scaled pendant is way better than trying to squeeze 3 in if you can't fit it. And finally, separate all your lights on a different circuit. It's such a boring detail, but it makes such a big impact when you can change between brightness. If you take nothing else from this video, take this. Small kitchens aren't about cramming in more, they're about really thoughtful restraint. And give yourself time to plan it all, because calm, clued up renovators almost always get a better result. If you need some help planning your layout properly before you commit to the cabinets, download those free guides that I mentioned below. And tell me more about you in the comments. Are you renovating a whole property or are you just focusing on this kitchen? Let me know whereabouts you're getting stuck and I'll try and plan in some videos to help you. Okay, I hope that's helped you, and if you want to create a timeless, stylish kitchen, you should watch this video next. Be sure to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!